Being a reviewer has its pros and cons, and one of the biggest perks of being a reviewer is that you understand the likes and dislikes of your audience and their opinions about the product. And most of the time, masses do not like what we audiophile called as pure. They want their bass, they want their vocal emphasis, and they want their soundstage. Technicalities often come at the later of the stages when they are talking about gaming. However, all in all, they just want to enjoy the music. And Truth Hear Zero Blue 2 is exactly that kind of set that people will enjoy listening to the music on. So let's do a review of Truth Hear Zero 2 Blue and understand how it fares in the market. Before that, this unit was provided by Shenzhen Audio and I will leave the link in the description, so do check out. For package build and design, it is exactly same as that of first Zero Blue, with two really good additions: this 5 ohm impedance adapter for some extra bass and the cable. Yes, the cable had always been a letdown in Truth Hear series except Gate and Hola. Well, they have changed the cable. Now you get the same cable that you get with Truth Hear Gate in Truth Hear Zero 2 Blue. And it's a very nice cable. IEMs are same resin shells with this beautiful patterned blue plate. Slightly different pattern from the previous one, however looks really good. For comfort, I had no issues with these IEMs, the nozzle was fine. Though I still believe it is not for anyone who has small ears, these are still a little bit of chunky boys. Here are the specifications of Zero 2 Blue. It's a dual dynamic driver with an impedance of 5.8 ohm and a sensitivity of 119.5. And a decent dongle would be enough to drive these IEM. I do not suggest driving them directly out of your mobile. Now for the sound, this is as Harman as an IEM can get in this price range. Crinacle went full Harman on this IEM, and the bass I think is the strongest part of this IEM. It is thunderous and impactful. It focuses on sub bass, so you get that excellent rumble, and at the same time it carries a nice weight as well. My major concern was this will not have enough mid bass. However, it did fine justice to that as well. While it is not a very thumpy mid bass, however it creates a very good balance in tandem with that rumbly sub bass that it provides. I was listening to All That Easy by Limp Bizkit and it handled the bass very well. Sub bass to mid bass, it had a good balance. Overall, it portrayed a very good speed as well. It is not the fastest bass that you can get out there. However, it is not the slowest either. In the mids, bass has no bleed whatsoever in the mids. The bass shelf and the mids has a very good separation. In fact, the layering and separation in the mids is on point. The upper mid energy is very good. The female vocals sound very good on this IEM. However, for male vocals, I found it to be a little bit thin and a little bit recessed. In fact, the lower mid-range itself is a little bit thin. I was listening to Frank Sinatra. To nitpick, the vocals can carry a bit of body. However, it was very enjoyable. Though at the same time, in Over the Hills and Far Away, mids feel recessed and subdued. Major setback for me in this IEM was upper mid and the treble ranges. While the treble is very sparkly and carries a lot of details, it lacks that texture and in some cases it can be a bit peaky as well. I did not find any instances of sibilance as such though. I tried the foam tips as well to balance the treble, however at the same time it hampered the body in the bass region. So overall it was not a very enjoyable experience, so I do not suggest foam tips on this IEM. Truth Hear Zero Blue 2 comes with an impedance adapter as well. The impedance adapter increases the bass and adds a body to lower mids as well. However, the whole signature becomes slow and lacks that tactility. Not recommended until unless you're listening to something specific that requires that slow and rumbly bass. So still very enjoyable though. For technicalities, it has good detail retrieval, however it lacks that texture. Overall, a good resolution for the price range. For sound staging, it has a wide soundstage with a very good imaging and separation and layering. Good rhythm and timing creates a nice immersion as well, handles the atmosphere very well, and at the same time a very good dynamic range. So overall, I would say it's an above average technicalities for the price range, and if you're a gamer, I think it's a very good IEM for that purpose. Let's compare this with the competition, and I feel the only IEM that everyone will be comparing this with in this price range would be Keyfine Clean, which is currently the best IEM in this price segment. In bass, I would say 02 has better sub-bass rumble and can create that thunderous feel. However, at the same time, Clean produces a tight and controlled bass in comparison. For mids, 02 is slightly recessed and performs better in vocals, classic Harman signature, whereas Clean has a better balance of tonality and sounds very natural in the mids. In treble, again, Clean is a clean winner. In technicalities, 02 has a slight edge, and if you're a gamer, I would say 02 is a better performer in comparison. Overall, I would say you will not be disappointed with any of these IEMs. Both have their flavors. I found Clean to be slightly better IEM overall. If you need sub-bass rumble and you listen to a lot of EDMs, 02 can be a better pick here. In conclusion, I would say Clinical and Truth made this IEM even more Harman. While it carries a lot of positives and carries the legacy of Truth 0 series, it needs some refinement in terms of treble. I would give this IEM a solid 3 stars, and it carries on the legacy of Truth 0 series. Well, this was it for Truth 0 Blue 2. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do let me know how do you like this IEM, and I'll see you on the next one.